Sexual stamina is often misunderstood as something that comes from mental toughness, confidence, or years of sexual experience, but from a health and medical perspective, it is primarily governed by how well the nervous system regulates arousal. The nervous system controls every stage of sexual response, from desire and erection to climax and recovery. When this system is balanced, arousal rises smoothly and remains controllable. When it is dysregulated, climax can occur rapidly, even if a man is mentally trying to hold on. The key mechanism involves the interaction between the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches of the nervous system. The sympathetic system is responsible for excitement, intensity, and ejaculation, while the parasympathetic system supports relaxation, erection maintenance, and control. Many men with low sexual stamina live in a constant state of stress, anxiety, or over-alertness, which keeps the sympathetic system dominant. In this state, the body treats sexual activity as a high-intensity event that must end quickly, triggering early ejaculation regardless of desire or intention. Willpower alone cannot override these automatic reflexes. Ejaculation is a spinal and neurological reflex, not a conscious decision. Experience may improve awareness, but without proper nervous system regulation, experience does not guarantee endurance. This explains why some inexperienced men naturally last longer while others struggle despite years of sexual activity. Breathing, heart rate, and emotional state all feed directly into nervous system control. Slow, deep breathing and a calm mental state activate the parasympathetic response, allowing arousal to remain pleasurable without becoming overwhelming. Over time, healthy sleep, stress management, physical activity, and reduced stimulatory overload help retrain the nervous system. When regulation improves, sexual stamina improves naturally, not through force, but through balance. Hormonal balance plays a powerful and often underestimated role in sexual endurance, because hormones act as chemical messengers that directly influence arousal, sensitivity, energy, and control. Testosterone is commonly associated with desire and performance, but endurance depends on balance rather than simply having high levels. When testosterone is within a healthy range, it supports steady libido, strong erections, and stable nerve signaling. When levels are too low, arousal may feel weak and inconsistent, while overly high or poorly regulated levels can increase sensitivity and shorten endurance. Cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, is one of the biggest hidden disruptors of sexual stamina. Chronic stress, poor sleep, and mental overload keep cortisol elevated, which interferes with testosterone production and accelerates the body's fight-or-flight response. In this state, the nervous system pushes toward quick release rather than sustained arousal. Even men with normal testosterone can experience reduced endurance if cortisol remains high, because stress hormones override sexual control mechanisms. Prolactin plays a different but equally important role. This hormone rises after ejaculation and is responsible for sexual satiety and recovery. When prolactin levels are chronically elevated, which can occur due to stress, poor sleep, or certain medications, arousal may feel rushed or unsteady. The body may seek release quickly, followed by rapid loss of interest or energy. Balanced prolactin levels allow arousal to develop gradually and remain stable without triggering premature shutdown. These hormones do not act in isolation. They interact continuously with the brain and nervous system, shaping how stimulation is perceived and how quickly climax occurs. Healthy sleep, regular physical activity, adequate nutrition, and stress reduction are not lifestyle cliches. They are hormonal regulators. When testosterone, cortisol, and prolactin are balanced, sexual endurance improves naturally, reflecting overall hormonal and metabolic health rather than sheer effort or experience. Cardiovascular and vascular health are fundamental to erection quality and sexual endurance because an erection is, at its core, a blood flow-dependent event. During arousal, arteries supplying the penis must rapidly dilate to deliver oxygen-rich blood into erectile tissue, while veins simultaneously restrict outflow to maintain firmness. When blood vessels are healthy, flexible, and responsive, erections are stronger, more stable, and easier to sustain over time. When vascular function is impaired, endurance often suffers, regardless of desire or arousal. Poor cardiovascular health reduces nitric oxide availability, a key molecule that signals blood vessels to relax. Conditions such as high blood pressure, insulin resistance, smoking-related damage, and sedentary lifestyles stiffen arteries and narrow blood flow pathways. As a result, erections may be weaker or overly sensitive, forcing the body to compensate with heightened stimulation that can trigger faster climax. In many cases, rapid ejaculation is not purely a sexual issue, but a response to unstable blood flow and fluctuating erection strength. Heart health and sexual stamina are closely linked because both rely on efficient circulation and oxygen delivery. A healthy cardiovascular system supports endurance by maintaining consistent blood pressure and steady heart rate during arousal, preventing sudden spikes that accelerate ejaculation reflexes. Men with better aerobic fitness often report greater control and longer-lasting performance because their circulatory system adapts smoothly to physical and emotional stimulation. This connection is why erectile difficulties can be an early warning sign of broader vascular problems. Improving cardiovascular health through regular exercise, balanced nutrition, weight management, and avoidance of tobacco directly enhances sexual staying power. When blood vessels function optimally, erections require less effort to maintain, sensitivity becomes more manageable, and the body can sustain arousal without rushing toward climax. Sexual endurance, in this sense, is a reflection of vascular resilience and overall heart health. Pelvic floor muscle control is one of the most overlooked yet most trainable factors in sexual endurance. These muscles form a supportive sling at the base of the pelvis and play a direct role in erection strength, ejaculation timing, and sensation control. During arousal, the pelvic floor helps trap blood in the penis to maintain firmness, and during climax, rhythmic contractions of these muscles drive ejaculation. When control over these muscles is poor, ejaculation can occur reflexively and sooner than desired. Many men unknowingly have weak or uncoordinated pelvic floor muscles due to prolonged sitting, lack of targeted movement, poor posture, or chronic tension. Weakness reduces the ability to stabilize erections, while excessive tension can increase sensitivity and shorten endurance. In both cases, the body loses fine control over the ejaculatory reflex. This is why some men feel climax approaching suddenly, with little ability to slow it down. The important point is that pelvic floor function is not fixed. Like any skeletal muscle group, it responds to proper training. Learning to contract and relax these muscles intentionally improves awareness and timing during arousal. Controlled strength allows men to reduce excessive stimulation, pause when needed, and maintain erections without triggering climax. Equally important is learning relaxation, because constantly clenched muscles fatigue quickly and increase arousal intensity. Regular pelvic floor training improves nerve communication between the brain and the genitals, enhancing control and endurance over time. Benefits often extend beyond sexual performance, supporting urinary control and pelvic stability as well. When pelvic floor muscles are strong, flexible, and well coordinated, lasting longer becomes a physical capability rather than a mental struggle. This makes endurance more reliable, repeatable, and less dependent on distraction or forced suppression. Breathing patterns and stress response play a critical role in sexual stamina because they directly influence how the nervous system regulates arousal. Rapid, shallow breathing signals the body that it is in a state of alert or stress, which activates the sympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for fight or flight responses. When this system dominates during sexual activity, excitement escalates rapidly, heart rate spikes, and the body moves toward climax more quickly. In essence, men who experience premature ejaculation or quick arousal are often reacting to stress signals that they may not even consciously notice. Conversely, Slow, deep, and rhythmic breathing engages the parasympathetic nervous system, which supports relaxation, control, and sustained arousal. This state allows the body to maintain excitement without rushing toward orgasm. Breathing acts as a bridge between the mind and body. By consciously regulating inhalation and exhalation, men can influence heart rate, muscle tension, and sensitivity, all of which contribute to longer-lasting performance. Stress response is equally important. Chronic stress or anxiety increases cortisol levels, heightens nervous system reactivity, and primes the body for rapid ejaculation. Even outside of conscious worry, underlying tension can make arousal feel intense too quickly. Men who are able to manage stress through mindfulness, meditation, physical activity, or controlled breathing create a physiological environment where sexual excitement rises gradually and can be sustained for longer periods. Training the body to breathe calmly during arousal is a practical and effective tool for improving stamina. Techniques such as diaphragmatic breathing, paced exhalation, or counting breaths can help slow the buildup of tension and give the brain and body more control over the ejaculatory reflex. Over time, this improves not only endurance but also the overall sexual experience, making arousal more pleasurable and manageable. Understanding the connection between breath, stress, and arousal highlights that lasting longer is as much about physiology as it is about mental focus. Brain chemistry, particularly dopamine sensitivity, plays a central role in determining how quickly men reach climax, making it a key factor in sexual endurance. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that regulates pleasure, motivation, and reward. During sexual arousal, dopamine levels rise, signaling the brain that stimulation is rewarding and prompting physiological responses such as increased heart rate, erection, and ultimately the ejaculatory reflex. Men with heightened dopamine sensitivity may experience a faster surge in pleasure signals, which can accelerate the climax process, even if other physical factors are well controlled. The brain's reward pathways are highly adaptable, meaning that patterns of stimulation can train how quickly dopamine spikes in response to sexual activity. Men who frequently consume high-intensity sexual content or engage in rapid, repetitive stimulation may inadvertently condition their nervous system to reach climax more quickly. Conversely, men who pace arousal, practice mindfulness, or engage in moderate stimulation may develop a more gradual dopamine response, allowing sexual excitement to rise steadily and remain manageable over time. Other neurotransmitters such as serotonin and norepinephrine interact with dopamine to influence arousal and ejaculatory timing. Serotonin, for instance, helps inhibit premature climax by balancing dopamine activity, while norepinephrine regulates alertness and stress, which can either hasten or delay ejaculation. A healthy balance of these chemicals supports longer-lasting performance by stabilizing both the mind and the body's reflexive responses. Lifestyle factors such as sleep quality, diet, stress management, and exercise also influence brain chemistry. Adequate rest and nutrition help maintain optimal dopamine receptor sensitivity, while chronic stress or poor habits can desensitize the system, making the brain overreact or underreact to sexual stimulation. By understanding how brain chemistry governs sexual response, men can appreciate that stamina is not simply a matter of willpower. It is a neurochemical process that can be trained and optimized for longer, more controlled sexual experiences. Lifestyle habits have a profound impact on sexual performance and endurance, often more than most men realize. Sleep, nutrition, alcohol consumption, and exercise all influence the body's physical and hormonal systems, which in turn affect stamina, arousal, and control. Poor sleep disrupts hormone regulation, including testosterone and cortisol, increases nervous system reactivity, and heightens stress levels, all of which can accelerate climax and reduce endurance. On the other hand, consistent, restorative sleep supports hormonal balance, nerve function, and overall energy, allowing arousal to rise gradually and be sustained longer. Nutrition is another critical factor. A diet rich in whole foods, lean proteins, healthy fats, and micronutrients such as zinc, magnesium, and antioxidants supports blood flow, hormone production, and nervous system health. Conversely, diets high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can impair circulation, increase inflammation, and interfere with hormone balance, leading to weaker erections and decreased stamina. Hydration also plays a role, as dehydration can reduce blood volume and sensitivity, affecting performance. Alcohol consumption can have immediate and long-term effects on sexual endurance. While small amounts may temporarily reduce anxiety, excessive drinking depresses the central nervous system, diminishes sensitivity, impairs nerve signaling, and can interfere with erection quality. Over time, chronic alcohol use may lead to persistent stamina issues and reduced arousal control. Exercise, particularly cardiovascular and strength training, enhances circulation, strengthens pelvic floor muscles, regulates hormones, and improves stress management. Regular physical activity also increases endurance by conditioning the body to maintain higher levels of energy and control under physical and psychological stimulation. Together, these lifestyle habits form the foundation for sexual stamina. Men who prioritize sleep, balanced nutrition, moderate alcohol use, and regular exercise naturally experience improved control, sustained arousal, and a more satisfying sexual experience, demonstrating that endurance is deeply connected to overall health rather than isolated bedroom techniques. Men who last all night do so not by forcing themselves to suppress arousal, but by learning to manage it intelligently. Understanding that sexual stamina is a dynamic process rather than a battle of willpower. Trying to hold back or resist climax often backfires because ejaculation is controlled by reflexes in the nervous system that cannot be overridden by conscious effort alone. When men attempt to fight arousal, it can increase tension, trigger stress responses, and accelerate the very climax they are trying to avoid. In contrast, those who last longer approach arousal strategically, allowing excitement to build while maintaining awareness and control over physical and mental signals. Managing arousal involves several interrelated components. First, men develop sensitivity to their own bodies, recognizing the early signs of rising excitement and understanding the pace at which stimulation is affecting them. This self-awareness allows them to modulate intensity, change positions, or adjust rhythm to maintain a comfortable level of arousal. Second, breathing, pelvic floor control, and relaxation techniques help regulate the nervous system, preventing the body from tipping too quickly into the sympathetic fight-or-flight state that triggers rapid ejaculation. By staying relaxed, they can sustain stimulation without overwhelming their system. Psychologically, intelligent arousal management also means reducing performance pressure and anxiety. Men who focus on enjoying the sensations rather than obsessing over duration experience more gradual excitement curves, which naturally extend endurance. Additionally, pacing arousal and incorporating pauses, changes in stimulation, or mental refocusing are effective strategies that help prolong sexual activity without suppressing pleasure. Ultimately, lasting all night is less about restraint and more about harmony between mind and body. Men who succeed in endurance allow arousal to flow, respond thoughtfully to their physical sensations, and use trained techniques to modulate excitement. This approach demonstrates that sexual stamina is a skill that blends physiological awareness, mental control, and strategic behavior rather than mere suppression or brute willpower.